Hello, CpSingleton. I'm going to read the very first poem to be published, and it was published by Forward Poetry in their anthology called Obsessive Love. Go out and buy it because there's some really other fantastic poetry in there as well. So also whichever. And I'm going to read mine, which is called The Birth of Banshee. I hope you enjoy. She wanders from tormented soul to broken spirit, filling the air with her heart's suffering, feeding on the pain they wear so tightly. It began in a time when kilts were everyday wear and battle marked a young man's journey into the short-lived age of manhood. She was in the service of the laird, naught but a milkmaid, her destiny to follow the faded line of serfdom until death's gentle hand took her to the Lord. Little did she know that it wasn't only the blood of humankind that flowed through her veins. He was the laird's successor. He was handsome and strong, his eyes burned with passion, and not a shard of brutality pierced. His destiny was to be written into history's heavy ledger. His father prepared for his future, with deals and marriages arranged. Then it was that the young laird, Connor, arriving back from a boar hunt, passed the stricken maiden, struggling with milk pails that threatened to topple her delicate frame. Her eyes caught his, both transfixed. He rushed to ease the burden on her slight shoulders. She saw, within the emeralds of his eyes, a heat that no roaring fire could match. He took the weight from her, his trembling hands softly brushing her exposed shoulder. Love's bolt shot from one to the other, leaving their minds to shatter like an ill-treated looking-glass dropped from a great height onto granite cobble stones below. That meeting changed the lovers. Their roads, once straight and certain, became beset with blind junctions and twisted pathways. Initially, Connor followed court protocol and approached his father. His father, bound by ritual and political titles, forbade his son to see the common wench. Love's hand guided their tiptoed response. Under secret's wing they met, in glade and beneath night's diamond-strewn sky. She felt safe and secure with his thick arms around her. He felt at home within her heart and her gentle embrace. The days apart would pass slowly, the nights together a blinding rush. They began to want a stronger foundation on which their love's fortress could be raised securely. They spoke about secret marriage, of a love beyond reproach. Surely his father would then accept. Fate and war are evil playmates. 4 days before the moon shined fully, its ancient sorrowful face peered down at the massing of two clan armies. Connor was called to arms before a last embrace with his beloved maiden. She watched anxiously as her heart rode in front, Gallowglass flashing in its giant scabbard, his fellow Gallowglass knights marching proudly behind him, the rain drenching their long hair to their soaked woolen cloaks. Beside the fear she felt freezing the marrow of her bones, she was also proud of him. His nobility made her soul sing. She prayed for his safe return. He would ride back and take her by her tiny arms, lift her gently onto his horse, and away they would trot. The future would see them married, their love sung around fires. Their children would grow up with strong arms protecting and kind hands healing. They would play in the fields in the warm summer sun, and all huddle around the blazing fire during the cold winter nights. Her heart filled with tears of joy, her mind was filled with his warm eyes. Her blood flowed with the beat of his love. She ate it, she breathed it, she lived it, slept and dreamt it. The mere thought of his hands touching her face quickened her breathing. He carried her in his heart. The ride to the battlefield was full of song, the spirit-raising chorus driving away the rain. No talk of defeat, no mention of death. Victory was theirs alone. His mind saw a quick battle and a gallop back to his love's warmth. The drums of battle pounded on that bright Irish morning. The two clans faced one another, masking terror with screams of anger. Arms waved across the field, not one in peace. The drums' beat grew faster and louder. Men from either side walked towards one another, weapons raised in murderous intent, red eyes of hatred glowing brightly. The drumming quickened, the men screamed at one another, the deadly temper rose again, the two clans ran at each other. The drumbeat lost to footfall and clashing of steel, screams of anger mixed with yells of pain. The living climbed over the dead, slipping on puddles that turned to lakes of blood. The stench of death waltzed through the fight, sardonically laying his hands on the shoulders of the lost. Connor expertly swung his double-handed sword. Men left and right fell like drunken children in a tremor to the power of his swing. Treachery shrugged nonchalantly, whispering words of brittle sentiment into ears of a former friend. Seamus and Connor's happy childhood stood for nothing as Seamus rushed forward and ran his sword through the back of his oldest and dearest cousin. Connor felt a hot bite in the centre of his spine, a bite that drained the strength from his once powerful limbs. He staggered forward, bouncing from one shocked comrade to the next, hearing his name not in triumph but in fear and concern. A wind rushed around the connection between his body and his departed soul. He felt it sever. Death escorted him off the battlefield one last time. The milkmaid left the parlour, pails across her shoulder, when the image of Connor smashed into her mind. She saw his broken body. She felt the blade enter his back. The milk covered the stone floor like the blood of her dear love. She screamed in pain. Other maids covered their ears. How could a girl of petite frame produce a screech that tore through their ears and crushed their brains? They felt warm blood well between their grasping fingers, the scream reaching a pitch that smashed pot plates and threatened to bring the castle walls down around their shocked and frightened ankles. The occupants of the fortress fell as one, blood bubbling from their dead eyes and ears. Not one soul survived her painful vent. Human nor animal, dead, every one. A scream turned the skies black. The trees shed their leaves, the rivers ran dry, the grass shrivelled brown, and the maiden's hair turned from black to white. Her fairy ancestry found life in her human veins. The green of her friendly eyes turned milky white. Her full lips drew thin. She screamed a full day and a long dark night, her misery powering her lungs. Then she stopped. She had to find her love, her dearest Connor. She had to hold him. From that day until this, poor Banshee, the first Banshee, flits from house to cottage, from castle to caravan, forever searching for her lost love. Her scream can be heard whenever death's hand has stolen life. One day she will find solace in the arms of her Connor. One day she will taste his lips. One day her torment will end. Thank you.